Hello everybody, we're getting ready to do lesson 2.6 for Geometry 1 Math Part 1. Email me here for Part 2, Part 3. Properties of Equality and Congruence 2.6. Here is your class worksheet, 32 points for that and 2 points on your note taking for this lesson. Teachers, your bell work for today is this here. Find the coordinates of the midpoint. We have another midpoint problem here. And then for our multiple choice, what is the conclusion of the following if-then statement? Fill that in. I give your students 5 minutes. Okay, welcome back for your solutions. And down here will be B. Our plane will take off. What is the conclusion of the if-then? Then our plane will, if the storm passes, this is your conclusion part of this if-then statement. And then up here will be the midpoint again. This is the formula here for finding your midpoints, and it would be 5, 4. Okay, this is reflexive property, symmetric property. 2 points on this classwork, page 1. The photos above illustrate the reflexive, symmetric, and transitive properties of equality. You can use these properties in geometry with statements about equality and congruence. This is good for writing proofs. Gene is the same height as Gene, reflexive. Gene is the same height as Pedro, then, so we have an if-then, Pedro is the same height as Gene. If Gene is the same height as Pedro, and Pedro is the same height as Chris, then Gene is the same height as Chris. This would be the transitive property. So you need to know these before you start writing proof. Properties of equality and congruence. Here's a reflexive here. Here's a formalization of it. Here's a congruent statement for this as well. And then you get an example here. Angle A is congruent to angle A. Measure of angle A equals measure of angle A. Reflexive, symmetric, AB equals CD, then CD equals AB. You can flip it around. If measure of angle A is equals measure of angle B, then the measure of angle B equals measure of angle A. And then we can do it over here. We can make those congruent. And then transitive property here, if AB equals CD, CD equals EF, then AB equals EF. And then here's your equality statements here. And then you can put those into a congruent statement as well. If they're equal, usually they're congruent. Okay, example 1, name properties of equality and congruence. Name the property that the statement illustrates. So we have this here. If line GH is congruent to JK, then JK is equal to GH. That's a symmetric property of congruence. And then DE equals DE. What's that? That'd be the reflexive property of equality. If angle P is congruent to angle Q and Q is congruent to R, then P is congruent to R. So we skip that, go over here. What's that? That'd be the transitive property of congruence. Okay, we're going to do a guided practice here now. Students, this is yours down here. This is be the transitive property. Up here, name the property that this statement illustrates. D equals FG, FG equals GH, then DF equals GH. Transitive property. Name the property here, angle S, angle T equals angle S. You just switch positions here. It's a symmetric. It doesn't matter which side they're on. They're both equal to each other. Your guide practice 1. Notebook. This goes in your notebook. In geometry, you're often asked to explain why statements are true. Reasons can include definitions, theorems, which you'll be writing soon, postulates, or properties. Sample 2, use properties of equality. In the diagram, N is the midpoint of MP, and P is the midpoint of NQ. So that MN equals PQ. So, definition of a midpoint, NP equals PQ. Definition of a midpoint, we've already defined that. MN equals PQ trans. Okay, we got our second guided practice, set of guided practice here, and independent practice. Students, you'll be asked here to provide the conditions here for these situations here that are produced from this diagram here. Complete the argument to show that the measure of WPX equals the measure of YPZ. So you're included with some actions here to provide a proof here. And your job would be to provide the foundation or the standings or the premises for using these actions here to prove this. And then in our guided practice, we're going to do this. Angle 1, angle 2 are verticals, 2 and 3 are congruent. Show that angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. So how we do that? Here we go. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Angle 2 and 3 are congruent. This is given up here in the premises for this argument. 1 and 2 are vertical, 2 and 3 are congruent. So therefore, by using the transitive property congruence, angle 1 is congruent to angle 3. Down here is your solutions here, students. Angle addition postulate, angle addition postulate, and then we have our each side of the equation here. Addition property of equality, they both equal each other. And then substitution property, we substitute in for these two addition parts of this property here. So that is, we're getting to be more technical here. Pay attention. That was our lesson for 2.6. Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3 are available here. Thank you very much.